Welcome to the WiseH20 How-To Guide. By using this app, you and other volunteers and water resource managers are helping us understand the health of our waterways. The first step is to download the app, and instructions for how to do that can be found at the mobile H2O website. When you launch the app, you should see your current location in the background. To get started, press the bottom right circle. You will be taken to the Options page. In the background of this page, you might see previous observations marked by the blue indicators. On this page, you can select to make an observation, show previous results, filter those results by date, or center yourself back to your current location. You can also click the bottom right to go back to the home screen. Let's start by making a water quality observation. We'll tap the top orange circle to get going. You are now at the main observation page. You'll be able to indicate the type of water source you have. You'll be able to conduct a water quality assessment if you choose to do that. You can log photos and comments. You can indicate stream disturbances that you're witnessing. We also want to know what the current conditions are when you're doing your monitoring or observation. And if there's a particular monitoring site that is already established that other organizations might also be using, it's important for us to know that so we can add to that data. First, I want to indicate the water source, so I'll click there and it takes me to the water source page. You can see I can indicate if it's a river, pond, springs, canal, ditch. You can look at that list and select the one that's most applicable to where you are. For this observation, I'm going to select river or stream, and then I'll go to the bottom of the page and I'll select OK. I'm now taken back to the water observation page. You can see that the water source indicates that I've selected river or stream. I'm now ready to take a water quality measurement, so I'm going to select that. That will then take me to the water quality page. You will see the options here include taking a 5-in-1 test, a 2-in-1 test, a phosphorus test, or indicating water temperature. These will be described as we move on through the video. You will see here two different test strip types. The 5-in-1 is on the left, indicated by the 5 different colored pads, and the 2-in-1 is on the right with the 2 different pads. The 5-in-1 will test for pH, alkalinity, hardness, nitrate, and nitrite. The one on the right, the 2-in-1, will test for nitrate and nitrite, but on a more refined level than the 5-in-1. It's recommended for the most robust water quality screening that both test strips are used in conjunction. I'll start by taking a 5-in-1 test. It's really important not to touch any of the colored paths with your finger, so you need to make sure you hold the test strip at the end. I'll dip it in the water, swirl it a couple of times, take it out, and then lay it on my calibration card. And I want to make sure that I lay it right in the center of the card for the best reading. You will notice that the top of the test strip pad lines up just under the top of the calibration card. From the time you dip the test strip until you're ready for the next step needs to be about 30 seconds. The next step is to select the 5-in-1 test strip. That will take you to a screen that shows faint lines of a green rectangle. We want to make sure to line up the calibration card and the test strip within the boundaries of those lines as indicated here. When you have your alignment, you can select to take a photo by clicking on the icon on the bottom right. If you are comfortable with the alignment that's returned in the photo, you can either save the image or repeat the photo if you'd like to try again. Remember that you want to take the photo within 30 to 60 seconds after having dipped the strip to have the best quality results. When you choose to save the image, what will be returned is a picture like this that shows smaller boxes within the calibration card boxes and your test pad boxes. It's really important that the colors within the smaller boxes fill up the whole box. If you have any that are off, like this example, you'll need to repeat the photo, remembering that you need to have the entire test completed within 30 to 60 seconds of having dipped the test strip for the most accurate results. When you are comfortable with the image, select Run Test. What will be returned are the values for pH, alkalinity, and hardness. The nitrate and nitrite readings will be stored in the database but not displayed here in the app. What will display is if you choose to do the 2-in-1 test for the more refined nitrites, those will show up in the results in the app. Once we have viewed the results, we can select Save on the bottom right and it'll take us back to our water quality page. We are now ready to run a 2-in-1 test. We will then take our 2-in-1 test strip, remembering not to touch the pads with our fingers. We'll swirl it in water a couple of times. We'll take it out and lay it on the center of the calibration card, just as we did with the 5-in-1. And then we will wait 30 seconds after we've dipped the test strip to get to the next step in the process. Back in the app, we'll select 2-in-1 test strip. We'll select OK at the bottom. We'll align the card within the green box. And if the card looks good and the image looks good, we'll save the image. And then if all the boxes line up the way you were instructed earlier, we will select to run the test. And what will be returned are the results for our nitrate and nitrite 2-in-1 reading. Now we're ready to run a test on phosphate. To do this, it will be a visual test that doesn't require the use of the calibration card, but does require the use of the test tube that comes in the kit. To run the test, you will gently bend the test strip that comes in the kit and insert it into the top cap. Next, you will fill the tube to the 10 milliliter line, pouring out any extra until you get it right on that line. You will then insert the cap with the test strip in it and move the tube back and forth slowly 5 times. You will now remove the lid from the test tube. You will look down the test tube and identify which color on the test kit vial best matches the colors in your test tube. When you find that color, look at that number, and that's what you will enter into the app. So back in the app, I will select phosphorus test, and then I'll see a variety of numbers. I will select 300 because that was the result I got from my phosphorus test. I select OK at the bottom of the screen, and I'm taken back to my water quality page where I can focus now on water temperature. For best results on water temperature, we recommend using a high-quality, waterproof instant read thermometer and follow the manufacturer's instructions. Once I have my water temperature reading, I'll go back to the app, select water temperature, click OK at the bottom, and I'll use the slider bar until I get to the correct temperature reading. I will then click OK at the bottom and be returned back to my water quality screen. Once I'm finished making my water quality assessments, I'll click OK at the bottom, and that will take me back to the main observation page. From here, I will click Photos and Comments because I want to take a picture of something in order to keep record of it, and there's a comment that I think is important to make that goes with these observations. I will select Add a Photo. When I'm ready to take a picture, I'll line it up. I'll press the icon with the camera on it on the bottom right corner. That will then give me the option to either repeat the photo or save the photo if I like the quality of the image. Once I've done that, I'm taken back to the Photos and Comments page. You'll notice here that the photo is date and time stamped for future reference. I'm then ready to add a comment. So I will select the Add a Comment section. I will then click on the Enter Your Comment here. You should then find a keypad on your phone and you can enter your comment. Once you're satisfied with what you have entered, you select OK, and that record is logged. Select OK again, and we return to our main observation page. Now we're ready to make stream disturbance observations. When you select stream disturbances, you'll be taken to this menu of options that show some typical disturbances you might find in a waterway. You're able to select None at the bottom, or 1, 2, 3, as many of these that you see at this particular time in this location. Simply click on the observations that you're making of those disturbances and then click OK. To assist in identifying some stream disturbances, here are some examples you might find. This first one is an example of a fish barrier where fish cannot pass backwards and forwards in this particular instance. The next one looks at bank erosion. The third is when there's trash. Fourth is there's pipe or drain outflow. You can see that from this example. The next is if you have livestock or cattle within the stream. Then if we have a potential algal bloom, that tends to be greenish as in the example. And then also the last one we have here to show you is a fish kill. That's obviously where you have fish that are no longer surviving in whatever water conditions they're in. I will select fish barrier and bank erosion as the disturbances that were present. I'll then click OK, and that will take me back to the main observation page. I'm now ready to identify current conditions. When I select current conditions, I'm taken to this page where I can indicate the water level, water clarity, and the weather. When I select water level, I'm given these options: base flow, mid-stage, bankful stage, and overbank flooding. Here's a diagram to help understand what levels those mean. I will select bankful stage, click OK, and now I'm ready to indicate water clarity. When I select water clarity, I'm given three options: clear, murky, or muddy. To give you some examples, clear waterway might look like this example. You can generally see what's under the water or through the water. Murky, it's more opaque, as in this example. And then muddy, clearly you can see mud or silt that's so thick you can't see through the waterway. I will now select clear for water clarity, and then I'll select OK, and I'm brought back to the current conditions page. Now I can indicate the weather. When we talk about weather, we want to identify what weather conditions have occurred over the past 24 hours. So when I select the weather option, I see there's the potential to identify if we've had regional rainfall, a local thunderstorm, warmth causing snowmelt, or none, indicating no significant weather change in the last 24 hours. So we have some examples of some weather conditions that may be present. Regional rainfall is just sort of a general rain that may be occurring in your area. A local thunderstorm may be heavy, may have implications for water levels or conditions. And then snowmelt certainly is something we want to pay attention to. I will select warmth causing snowmelt, click OK, and I'm taken back to the current conditions page. That's now complete, so I'll click OK again, and it takes me to my main observation page. Now I can select Monitoring Site, and this will indicate if there are some already pre-populated and predetermined monitoring sites in place that I can select from. Here is a list of some examples of what those might include. Once I've completed my observations, I can select Save. It will then take me to this page, which is a summary of my observation. If I'm comfortable with the information displayed, I can select Submit. It will then be logged into the database, and it will be indicated as a point on the map. On the map, the blue drops indicate individual observations. The plus signs indicate that there are more observations stacked behind the ones you see up front. If I select one of the individual blue drops, I will get a page like this that shows a summary of the observation, but in a more visual form. So it will include the date and time, stream disturbances, clarity, water level, those kinds of measures. It will also include the results of our test drift assessments, as well as our phosphorus and temperature readings, to give you a full summary of that particular observation. You will notice on the slider bars there are indicators that show green, yellow, red, or dark red. That indicates whether the water quality is of concern or is within an acceptable range. When I'm finished looking at the results, I click the upper left arrow and it returns me back to the options page. If I select the purple icon, it shows results based on different parameters, including things like water level, bank erosion, temperature, a variety of elements. I can also choose to filter by dates, and you'll see here it can do months, days, year, and you can also do a custom date if you have a particular date in mind at the bottom. You'll see here that I've refined my search to look for bank erosion during a particular week in April. You'll notice by the color of the dots that in this case the green dots had no presence of bank erosion. The red dots indicate that bank erosion was present. If there's no data recorded, we indicate that as well. If I select a particular dot, I will be given the date and time of that particular observation. If I'd like to view additional details, I can click on that blue box and I'm returned back to the visual display of the results of that particular observation. So that concludes the overview of how to use the WiseH20 app. If you have already downloaded the app, hopefully you're ready to go and get out there and take some water quality measurements and learn some new things. If you haven't yet downloaded the app and are interested in participating, please contact us via the MobileH20 website at www.mobileh20.com. Thanks so much for your time and attention.